We are very grateful for you to be here. You and Alex Pencha, I hope, is here somewhere. And I'm very happy that our Deputy Speaker of the Parliament is here, and parliamentarians, and from the Senate. Very good that they can see what we've managed to achieve. Very grateful also our business community, the chair of the Chamber of Commerce, our very strong ladies from the different types of society are here, including Batula herself. We're very grateful that we could bring some people together. We're going to start by saying 1.5 years ago, when I met you first, you asked me what was the biggest challenges I faced as a Prime Minister of a nation that is emerging from major problems. And I told you there are two things. One, that changing a narrative is perhaps more difficult than rebuilding this nation. You asking me why, and I told you there is this difficulty in getting people to understand that they shouldn't see Somalia for what it is or what it has been, but should see Somalia for what it can be. And I remember that you telling me that's a very fair point. And I also remember that when I said to you that the world has been investing in Somalia for close to 30 years, with perhaps very little return, we're seeking partners who understand the challenges we face, willing to invest, but willing to take a little bit more risk. You're investing it anyway, but we want you to take a little bit more risk, in which you, in both questions, answered, Prime Minister, we will try, but it will depend on what you can do and what you can achieve. 1.5 years later, with all the political challenges we faced, with all the ups and downs, from within our system and outside, perhaps the biggest words I've heard from you today is the trust, that contractual trust that you've given us, which I would say the foundation of governance, which is a testimony of what we've done over 1.5 years. And for that, we're very grateful to you and to the European Union, not because of the budget support. That is, of course, for all Somalia, not only for Mogadishu, but for the commitment you've shown and willingness to take a little bit more risk, and the efforts you put in to understand the challenges this nation is facing. Because for many, Somalia has been Somalia, no difference. Either it is 10 or 15 years ago, but you and your colleagues have understand the real dynamics. And that is why when others couldn't understand, when others were not willing to take that risk, you've managed to take that risk. And I think it will go down in the history as when this nation started remaking itself. And that history, I think, will be part of the European Union history, and for that we're very grateful and thankful. With your support 1.5 years ago, no one would believe the World Bank Board of Directors would sit and say, would give the Somalis a pre-arrears clearance support of over $140 million. 1.5 years ago, no one would believe that the IMF would say, the S&P 3 seems to be successful. Now we will need to start thinking of what we call an upper credit tranche. 1.5 years ago, no one would think the business community would be paying the highest taxes they've ever paid, not because they want to alone, but because they have more trust in this government than any other government that came to shape this nation. 1.5 years ago, no one would believe there would be a government with a clear plan and direction that understood defeating terrorism means that you should have inclusive politics that work. You should have an economic agenda that works. You should have legitimacy from your people through provisional services. That those who work for you should be paid when the month ends, that they do in Norway or in Brussels. And that is why what we have been doing close to 18 months now. Everyone who works for the government, parliamentarians or ministers or civil servants, have been paid every single month. On top of that, there hasn't been a single arrears, domestically or internationally. The governments who came before us has managed to accumulate arrears locally only of $70 million, close to $70 million, while we as a government have managed to keep a clean sheet. Don't tell me that is not a different way of governing. Yes, it is. That is the reality I want the parliamentarians who sit here to understand. If any one of you who thinks this country hasn't made any progress, here is your testimony. These are the examples. So what we've achieved, the 100 million, to me is a drop in the ocean. It is not what is going to build Somalia. This nation has a wealth that other countries don't. Potential that has other countries don't. A youthful population that can turn a page, who can rebuild this country. A population that has been motivated by what we've done so far and what they have done themselves. But because our governing structures has been such that there has been a lot of obstacles, we will make sure that we transfer power back to the Somali people. So they are the ones who are there to decide. It is our job to be accountable, not only to you, but to the Somali people. And the government, the president, and I will make sure that every penny you've given to this government will be accounted for. This money also is meant for the federal member states, as you put it perfectly, and we will have to share with them, give them budget support, but also in an accountable and transparent manner, because accountability is a two-way street. The benchmarks and the requirements the European Union wants from us is also the same for the federal member states. And we will make sure that we lift this nation together from the bottom to the top. So, because the European Union works with us very closely, both here and in Brussels, understands the challenges we have as a nation, took a little bit more risk in us, and trusted us more. We've also shown that this nation is a nation that can be trusted. If there's anyone out there who still believes that Somalia is a failed state, I want to tell them today that Somalia is a functioning nation that is progressing, and we will continue building, and there is more hope than ever before, and we are very grateful for your support. Thank you.